9 days ago was 2 years since my mum passed away. I'm recording this on October 19th. I just wanted to make a short video talking about some of the things that I've learned in grief in the aftermath of losing somebody that I loved very much. And I thought maybe it would be instructive to people who haven't lost somebody that they love, because that's unfortunately something that almost all of us will have to go through. Also, I thought maybe it would be relatable to people who have gone through this, who are going through it still very much in the grieving process. This is just some stuff that I've noticed that I thought maybe you'd be interested in hearing. I think maybe the first thing that I noticed, and I began feeling this the day my mum died, was almost a sense of guilt at the idea of changing as a person, going on with my life. It almost felt like a sense of betrayal that I get to go on and continue living and having good experiences hopefully in the future, and my mum not only didn't get to do that herself but didn't get to share in my experiences. I think that's a big thing that people feel, is the guilt of leaving them behind. That every step towards improvement for the rest of my life is a step away from the person I was when my mum knew me. I think a big part of our identities are wrapped up in what other people think of us, the people that we love the most, and a big part of my identity was wrapped up in what my mum thought of me. And so the idea of becoming a different person, growing and changing, yeah, I guess it felt like any sense of self-improvement was distancing myself from my memory of her. And I think it's important, by the way, to mention here that, like, that's a normal feeling, but it's also a silly idea, and it's not something that your loved one will have shared. My mum definitely would have wanted me to continue living on with my life, to improve myself, to become the man she knew that I was capable of being. If you're feeling at all that sense of guilt about growing and changing and improving, you should know that that's exactly what your loved one either would have wanted or will want you to do. The last thing they would want is to be the reason that you never improved yourself. Another thing that I noticed pretty much immediately after my mum passed away was that I regretted all of the things that I had meant to do but never got around to doing. And one of those was recreating a family photo that's out there in the hall. It's a framed photograph of me and my brother and my parents in a photography studio. I think I must have been maybe 5 or 6 at the time. And we always talked about recreating that photo and we just never did it. I worked at a video agency for many years where we had a studio with a white backdrop. I had every opportunity to recreate that photo with my family and I never got around to doing it, and I will always regret that I never did that. I think we all have those things that we mean to do but we just keep putting it off until someday it's too late. I mean, if you've watched any of the videos on this channel, you know that I'm all about getting people to interview their loved ones on camera about their life story, because it's something we all talk about doing, recording our loved ones' stories, and most of us think about writing it down, but that takes time and it takes effort, and one of the lowest friction ways of getting all of those stories recorded is just to sit your loved one in front of a camera and ask them some questions. Of all of the things that I regret not doing before my mum passed away, I'm very glad that this is not on that list. I'm so incredibly grateful to my past self for taking the time to just sit her down in front of a camera for an afternoon and just asking her some questions about her life. I really can't overstate how profound a decision that was, because now when I really need to hear my mum's voice, I can go and watch her life reel. I can see her as she speaks to me and tells me her stories. It's something I can carry with me for the rest of my life. It's something I can pass down to my children and they can pass down to their children. It was just an incredibly important decision, and I want as many people as possible to be making that same decision. If that's something that you want to do for someone you love, you can join our community at the link down below. It feels a little bit weird to be promoting that during this video, but I do think it's something that's really important and something that everybody should do if they have the chance. Another thing I always thought about doing but never got around to was just filming or even just recording the audio of our family dinner conversations. I think it's amazing that I have footage of my mum and my dad and my grandma talking to the camera about their life, but one of the things I feel like I haven't gotten enough of is footage of us speaking with one another, having conversations, what it was like being a fly on the wall during Christmas. I think so much of who we are comes out when we're around the people we love the most, and I really wish I'd captured, you know, who my mum was when she was speaking with us. It's just something that I should have taken the time to do, and I'm annoyed at myself that I didn't. Another thing that I learned kind of in the weeks and the months after my mum passed away was really that grief is better as a shared experience. Grieving with others is so much better than grieving alone. I don't know how I would have managed if I had to do that alone. I remember years ago I was reading this Reddit thread where a guy was about to become a father for the first time, and so he was asking, what's something that I should keep in mind about being a dad? And one of the comments was, quality time with your kids is not as important as quantity time with your kids. Yes, it's important to take your kids on cool vacations if you can. It's important to go fishing with them. It's important to go to their soccer games. But the most important thing about being a parent is that you are there for your child and that your child knows that. And when my mum died, it was me and my brother and my dad in this house with this palpable sense of absence. And there were just days when we would sit in the dining room together and we would all be on our own laptops and we wouldn't be saying anything the whole day, but we were just sharing that space with one another. And that was so incredibly important. It meant that when one of us was feeling particularly terrible that day, the others were around to look after them and to be a shoulder to cry on and to show that you didn't have to do this alone. You didn't have to go through this alone. And so I would say to anyone who hasn't lost someone that they love, that will inevitably happen. And I think the most important thing you can do in the aftermath of that is be there for the people you love. You don't have to be constantly doing things, giving them gifts, coming up with things to do together. You don't have to be going out to bowling alleys just in order to fill the time. You can just be with one another. And I'm so incredibly glad that is how we spent the months after my mum passed away, just together. And I think the final thing that I noticed about losing my mum particularly, but also my grandma, is that, when you lose someone that you love, you're also losing a part of yourself. One of the things I always say is that we're different people around different people, and there was a way that I acted around my mum that I will never act around anybody else ever again. And so in that sense, my mum took a part of me with her when she passed away. And I think it's important for us to keep in mind that, the people we love the most, whether it's family or friends, we are unknowingly custodians of a small part of them because there's a way that they act around us that they don't act around anybody else. What I think is so beautiful about that is that we are interconnected. We are not just ourselves. We are, in a very real way, a part of one another. And so yeah, those are just some things that I noticed about losing my mum particularly, and they're just lessons that I've learned that have kind of been going through my head for the last 2 years, so I thought I'd make a little video about it. If this is something that you can relate to, I'm sorry, and I know it's something that we all have to go through, losing the people we love the most, and I hope that you're doing okay. If you're watching this and you've never lost someone you love, hopefully this video gave you some food for thought when it comes to maybe things that you should be prioritizing in your life, spending more time with the people you love, recording their stories if that's something that you want to do. Again, feels strange to be promoting this, but I truly believe in this idea. So if you want to learn how to interview somebody that you love about their life story, come and join us in the Life Real community. We're building a community of people who are doing exactly that with the people that they love, and so we'd love to have you. And so yes, that's all I've got for you today, and I hope that you're having a great morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you again next time.